Welcome to our channel, where we explore the fascinating history, value, and hidden stories behind classic United States coins. Today's video is all about some iconic Lincoln 1-cent coins from the early and mid-20th century. These pennies may look ordinary at first glance, but each one carries a unique history shaped by America's economy, its mints, and the collectors who treasure them today. In this episode, we will take a closer look at the 1-cent 1951 D coin, the 1-cent 1953 coin, the 1-cent 1956 coin, the 1-cent 1956 D coin, and finally the 1-cent 1958 D coin. Let's begin our journey through time. The 1951 D 1-cent coin is one of the most interesting Lincoln wheat cents produced during the early post-World War II period, a time when the United States was adjusting to peacetime production while still feeling the economic and political effects of global change. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark located just below the date on the obverse. It belongs to the long-running Lincoln wheat cent series, which began in 1909 and continued until 1958, making the 1951 D cent part of the final decade of this classic American coin design. By 1951, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for over 40 years, and it was deeply embedded in American daily life. The design by Victor David Brenner had become instantly recognizable. The obverse features a right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, chosen to commemorate the 100th anniversary of his birth. Lincoln was the first real person to appear on a regular-issue U.S. coin, a decision that initially sparked debate, but ultimately became one of the most respected choices in American numismatic history. On the 1951 D cent, Lincoln's portrait is mature, dignified, and strong, reflecting the design refinements that had taken place over the decades since 1909. The inscriptions on the obverse include, "In God We Trust," along the top edge, "Liberty," to the left of Lincoln's portrait, and the date 1951 to the right. Just below the date sits the Denver Mint mark D, which clearly distinguishes this coin from its Philadelphia and San Francisco counterparts. The placement and clarity of the mint mark are important details for collectors, as weak or fill mint marks can affect both authenticity and value. The reverse of the 1951 D cent displays the iconic wheat ears design, which gives the series its popular name, the wheat penny. Two stylized wheat stalks curve inward from the left and right edges, framing the central inscriptions. Between the wheat ears appear the words 1 cent in large letters, with United States of America below it. Along the top of the reverse is the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This reverse design symbolized America's agricultural strength and prosperity, an especially meaningful image during the early Cold War years when national unity and productivity were heavily emphasized. The 1951 D 1-cent coin was struck in very large numbers. The Denver Mint produced approximately 625 million of these cents, making it one of the higher mintage issues of the wheat cent series. Because of this high production figure, the coin is generally considered common in circulated grades. Millions entered daily commerce, where they were used repeatedly for small purchases, vending machines, and everyday transactions. As a result, many surviving examples show significant wear, especially on Lincoln's hair, cheek jawline, and the wheat ears on the reverse. Despite its large mintage, the 1951 D cent remains popular among collectors because it represents an important historical era and is an essential date for anyone assembling a complete Lincoln wheat cent collection. For beginners, it is often one of the easier Denver Mint wheat cents to acquire, while advanced collectors seek out high-grade examples with strong detail, original luster, and minimal contact marks. The metal composition of the 1951 D 1-cent coin is another key aspect of its identity. It is composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, with a small amount of tin included as part of the traditional bronze alloy. This composition was restored in 1947 after the experimental steel cents of 1943 and the altered wartime alloy cents of 1944 to 1946. By 1951, the U.S. Mint had returned fully to the pre-war bronze formula, giving the coin its familiar reddish-brown appearance when new. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and handling caused many examples to tone to brown or dark brown, while well-preserved coins may retain red or red-brown coloration. Color plays a major role in determining the value of a 1951 D D-cent coins are commonly classified as red, red-brown, or brown based on how much original mint red color remains on the surface. Fully red examples are the most desirable and command significantly higher prices, especially in uncirculated grades. Red-brown coins offer a balance between affordability and visual appeal, while brown coins are the most common and typically found in circulated condition. In terms of physical specifications, the 1951 D-cent has a diameter of 19 millimeters and a weight of approximately 3.11 grams. It features a plain edge with no reading. These standard specifications remain unchanged throughout most of the wheat cent series, contributing to uniformity and recognizability of the coin. The striking quality of 1951 D-cents can vary. Some examples exhibit sharp details with well-defined lettering and strong wheat lines, while others show weaker strikes, particularly on Lincoln's hair and the reverse wheat tips. Strike weakness was often the result of worn dies or high-speed production demands at the Denver Mint. Collectors often look for coins with crisp lettering, full wheat ear detail, and minimal softness in the design. Die varieties and minor errors exist in the 1951 D-cent, though none are as famous as major double dies seen in other Lincoln cent years. Some coins may display minor repunch mint marks, die cracks, die chips, or slight doubling caused by machine doubling rather than true hub doubling. While these minor varieties usually do not carry extreme premiums, they can still add interest and modest value, particularly for collectors who specialize in Lincoln cent errors and varieties. The historical context of the 1951 D1 cent adds depth to its story. In 1951, the United States was firmly engaged in the Cold War, and the Korean War was ongoing. The American economy was expanding, industrial production was high, and consumer spending was rising. Coins like the Lincoln cent played a small but constant role in everyday life, passing through countless hands as symbols of stability and continuity. For many Americans, the wheat penny was a familiar object carried in pockets, purses, and cash registers across the nation. From a collecting standpoint, the 1951 D-cent is often used as a reference point for understanding grading standards. Because so many examples exist, collectors can compare worn, lightly circulated, and uncirculated pieces side by side. In heavily circulated condition, most of the fine details are worn smooth, and the coin may appear dark brown with numerous marks. In dramatic price increases due to its high mintage, it continues to be an essential component of Lincoln cent collections. Its historical significance, classic design, and copper composition ensure that it will remain popular among collectors, educators, and history enthusiasts. Moving on to the 1 cent 1953 coin. The 1 cent 1953 coin, commonly known as the 1953 Lincoln wheat cent, is a classic example of mid-20th century American coinage and represents a period of stability, growth, and everyday practicality in the United States. This coin was issued during the presidency of Dwight D. Eisenhower, a time when the nation was emerging confidently from the aftermath of World War II and moving into a new era marked by industrial expansion, suburban growth, and rising consumer culture. The Lincoln cent of 1953 was not a commemorative or special issue, yet it played an essential role in daily American life, and today stands as an important historical artifact for collectors and historians alike. The obverse of the 1953 1 cent coin features a familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right, a design originally created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. This portrait had already become one of the most recognizable images in American numismatics by 1953. Lincoln's profile on this coin is calm, dignified, and realistic, reflecting both artistic skill and deep national respect for the 16th president. Above Lincoln's head appears the motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase that had been present on U.S. coinage for decades and symbolized the country's moral and spiritual identity. To the left of the portrait is the word liberty, while the date 1953 appears on the right side. Coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced a majority of cents in 1953, do not carry a mint mark, and this absence is often informally referred to by collectors as no mint mark, sometimes mistakenly written or spoken as L, even though no actual letter appears on the coin. The reverse of the 1953 1 cent displays the iconic wheat ears design, which had been in use since 1909. Two wheat stalks curve upward along the left and right edges of the coin, framing the central inscriptions. Between the wheat ears, the denomination 1 cent is clearly stated, with United States of America written beneath it. At the top of the reverse, the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, is prominently displayed. This design symbolized America's agricultural roots and productivity, values that were especially meaningful in the early 1950s, when national self-sufficiency and unity were emphasized during the early Cold War period. The 1953 Lincoln cent was composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, with trace amounts of tin forming a bronze alloy. This composition gave the coin its warm reddish appearance when newly minted. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and handling caused most examples to darken to shades of brown. Some coins developed attractive natural toning, while others became dull or spotted depending on storage conditions. Collectors today classify these coins by color into red, brown, and brown categories, with fully red examples being the most desirable and valuable due to their preserved original mint luster. Physically, the 1953 1-cent coin has a diameter of approximately 19 millimeters and a weight of about 3.11 grams. The edge of the coin is plain, without reading or lettering. These specifications were standard for Lincoln wheat cents and remain consistent for many decades, making the coin instantly recognizable by both sight and feel. In terms of production, the 1953 Lincoln cent was minted in very large quantities. The Philadelphia Mint alone produced hundreds of millions of these coins, ensuring that they were widely available in circulation. Because of this high mintage, the 1953 cent is generally considered a common date among Lincoln wheat cents. For many years, it circulated heavily in everyday commerce, used for small purchases, newspaper sales, candy, and public transportation fares. As a result, most surviving examples show signs of wear, particularly on Lincoln's hair, cheekbone, jawline, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. Despite its abundance, the 1953 1 cent holds strong appeal for collectors. It represents the final years of the wheat cent design, which would be replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. For collectors assembling a complete wheat cent collection, the 1953 cent is an essential piece, and for beginners, it is often one of the first coins acquired due to its availability and affordability. The quality of striking on 1953 cents can vary. Some coins exhibit sharp details, strong lettering, and clearly defined wheat lines, while others show softness in certain areas due to worn dies or high-speed minting processes. Coins with strong strikes and clean surfaces are more desirable, especially in higher grades. Contact marks, scratches, and discoloration can significantly affect a coin's appearance and value. From a grading perspective, the 1953 1 cent can be found across the entire spectrum, from heavily worn good condition examples to fully uncirculated mint state coins. In low grades, Lincoln's facial features are flattened and the wheat ears appear smooth. In mid-grade circulated coins, details are still visible but show clear wear. Uncirculated examples retain their original luster and sharpness, making them more attractive and valuable. High-grade mint state coins, particularly those with red coloration, are scarcer than circulated examples and are actively sought by collectors. Minor errors and varieties are known for the 1953 cent, though none are considered extremely rare or famous. Some coins show die cracks, die chips, weak strikes, or minor doubling caused by machine movement during striking. These features can add interest and modest premiums for collectors who specialize in error coins, but they do not generally transform the coin into a major rarity. Historically, the year 1953 marked a transition period in American society. The Korean War had recently ended. Technological advancements were accelerating, and optimism about the future was widespread. The Lincoln cent of this year circulated quietly through this changing world, passing from hand to hand as Americans built homes, started families, and expanded businesses. Though small in size and value, the coin was a constant presence in daily transactions and became part of the fabric of everyday life. Today, the market value of a 1953 1 cent depends largely on condition and color. Heavily circulated brown examples are typically worth only a small premium above face value, mainly for their copper content and collector interest. Red-brown coins in uncirculated condition are worth more, while fully red mint state examples can command significantly higher prices, especially when certified by professional grading services. Exceptional coins with strong eye appeal and minimal flaws are the most desirable and valuable. Beyond monetary value, the 1953 Lincoln cent carries educational and historical importance. It serves as a tangible link to mid-century America and offers insight into the nation's economic habits, artistic preferences, and cultural values. For many collectors, it also holds sentimental meaning, often remembered as a coin found in childhood pocket change or inherited from a family collection. The 1 cent 1956 coin, commonly known as the 1956 Lincoln wheat cent, represents one of the final issues of a legendary American coin series that had been in continuous production since 1909. By the time this coin was struck, the Lincoln cent had already earned a permanent place in American culture, functioning not only as everyday money but also as a symbol of national history, stability, and respect for democratic ideals. The 1956 cent was produced during a period of economic growth and social change in the United States, and although it was a regular circulation coin, it now serves as a historical artifact that reflects the values and conditions of mid-20th century America. The obverse of the 1956 1-cent coin features the right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This portrait was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, making it the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic representation. By 1956, Brenner's design had been slightly modified over the years, but the essential character of Lincoln's image remained unchanged. The portrait conveys seriousness, strength, and dignity, qualities closely associated with Lincoln's legacy as a leader who preserved the Union during the Civil War. Above Lincoln's head appears the motto, "In God We Trust," which reflects the spiritual and moral foundation emphasized in American society, especially during the Cold War era. To the left of Lincoln's portrait is the word liberty, a core value deeply ingrained in American identity. The date, 1956, is placed to the right, clearly marking the year of issue. Coins minted at the Philadelphia Mint do not carry a mint mark, while those struck at the Denver and San Francisco mints include a small D or S below the date. The 1956 cent was produced at all three mints, making it widely available across the country. The reverse of the 1956 1 cent displays the iconic wheat ears design, which had been used on Lincoln cents from 1909 through 1958. Two wheat stalks curve inward from the left and right edges of the coin, framing the central inscriptions. Between the wheat ears, the denomination 1 cent is prominently displayed, with United States of America written below. At the top of the reverse appears a Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This design symbolized America's agricultural heritage and unity, themes that resonated strongly during the 1950s when national pride and productivity were emphasized. The 1956 1 cent coin was composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, with trace amounts of tin, forming a bronze alloy. This composition had been restored after World War II following temporary changes made due to wartime metal shortages. As a result, the 1956 cent has a traditional copper color associated with earlier Lincoln wheat cents. When freshly minted, the coin displayed a bright red surface with strong luster. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and handling caused most examples to tone to red-brown or brown shades. The color of a 1956 cent plays a major role in determining its desirability and market value today. Physically, the 1956 cent has a diameter of approximately 19 millimeters and a weight of about 3.11 grams. The edge is plain, without any reading or lettering. These specifications were standard for Lincoln cents of the era and contributed to the coin's uniformity and ease of use in commerce. Its small size and lightweight made it convenient for everyday transactions, and millions of Americans handle these coins daily, without giving much thought to their design or history. In terms of production, the 1956 Lincoln cent was minted in extremely large quantities. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of coins, while the Denver and San Francisco mints also contributed significant numbers. Because of this high mintage, the 1956 cent is generally considered a common date within the wheat cent series. Most examples entered circulation immediately and remained in use for many years, often showing heavy wear by the time they were removed from circulation. The quality of striking on 1956 cents varies, depending on the mint and the condition of the dies used. Some coins display sharp details with clearly defined lettering, Lincoln's hair strands, and full wheat ear lines on the reverse. Others exhibit softer details due to worn dies or high-speed production demands. Weak strikes are often seen on Lincoln's hair, above the ear, and on the tips of the wheat stalks. Collectors tend to prefer coins with strong strikes and balanced detail on both sides. Because the 1956 cent circulated widely, most surviving examples are found in worn condition. In lower grades, Lincoln's facial features appear smooth, and the wheat ears lose much of their detail. In mid-grade circulated coins, some hair detail and wheat lines remain visible, though wear is evident. Uncirculated examples are more desirable and retain their original mint luster, with minimal wear and sharper detail. High-grade uncirculated coins, especially those with full red color, are much scarcer than their circulated counterparts. Color classification is an important aspect of evaluating a 1956 1-cent coin. Fully red coins retain most or all of their original mint color and are the most valuable. Red-brown coins show a mix of original red and brown toning and are more affordable while still attractive. Brown coins, which have lost nearly all of their original red color, are the most common and typically found in circulated condition. Natural, even toning is preferred over dark, uneven, or spotted surfaces. Minor errors and varieties exist for the 1956 cent, though none are considered extremely rare. Some examples show die cracks, die chips, or repunched mint marks on Denver and San Francisco issues. Machine doubling can sometimes be seen on lettering or numbers, though this is not the same as true double die varieties. These minor errors add interest for specialized collectors, but generally do not result in very high premiums. Historically, the year 1956 was a significant time in American history. The United States was experiencing economic prosperity, suburban development was expanding rapidly, and consumer culture was growing. The Cold War influenced politics and daily life, and national confidence was strong. The 1956 Lincoln cent circulated quietly through this environment, used for everyday purchases, such as newspapers, candy, public transportation, and small household items. Though small in value, the coin played a constant role in daily transactions. From a collective perspective, the 1956 1 cent is an essential part of any complete Lincoln wheat cent collection. While it is not rare, it represents the later years of the wheat cent series and serves as a bridge between classic wheat design and the upcoming Lincoln Memorial reverse introduced in 1959. While fully red mint state examples can command significantly higher prices, especially in higher grades certified by professional grading services, coins with exceptional either 1956 Lincoln cent carry strong educational and sentimental significance. For many people, wheat pennies were among the first coins they collected, often found in pocket change or saved in jars. The 1956 cent frequently appears in inherited collections, making it a tangible connection between generations. Its familiar design and warm copper tone evoke memories of a simpler era in American life. The 1 cent 1958 D coin occupies a very special place in American numismatic history because it represents a final chapter of the famous Lincoln wheat cent series. Struck at the Denver Mint, this coin was issued during the last year that the wheat ears reverse design was used, making it historically significant even though it was produced in large numbers. By 1958, the Lincoln cent had already been a part of American life for nearly half a century, and the 1958 D cent stands as a symbol of the end of the long and respected design era that began in 1909. The obverse of the 1958 D1 cent features the iconic right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. This portrait had become one of the most recognizable images in United States coinage. Lincoln's image on the 1958 D cent reflect maturity and refinement, the result of decades of die adjustments and engraving improvements. The facial details, including Lincoln's hair, brow, nose, lips, and jawline, are well balanced when the coin is well struck, giving the portrait a dignified and realistic appearance. Above Lincoln's head appears the motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase that carried deep meaning during the 1950s, a time marked by Cold War tensions and strong emphasis on national unity and faith. To the left of Lincoln's portrait is the word liberty, while the date 1958 appears to the right. Just below the date is a small D mint mark, identifying the coin as a product of the Denver Mint. The clarity and placement of this mint mark are important to collectors, as weak or filled mint marks can occur due to die wear. The reverse of the 1958 D1 cent displays the famous wheat ears design, which have been used since the introduction of the Lincoln cent in 1909. Two wheat stalks rise along the left and right edges of the coin, curving inward toward the center. Between them is the denomination 1 cent, with United States of America written below. At the top of the reverse is a Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This reverse design symbolized America's agricultural roots, productivity, and unity, values that resonated strongly with earlier generations of Americans. The year 1958 marked the final use of the wheat ears reverse, as the design would be replaced in 1959 with the Lincoln Memorial reverse to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Because of this, the 1958 D-cent is often viewed as a closing chapter in a long story, giving it special emotional and historical importance among collectors. While it is not rare in terms of mintage, its status as a last-year issue gives it lasting appeal. The 1958 D1 cent was composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, with trace amount of tin, forming a traditional bronze alloy. This composition gave the coin its familiar reddish color when freshly struck. Over time, most examples tone to red-brown or brown due to oxidation and handling. The natural aging of copper adds character to these coins, and collectors today pay close attention to color when evaluating condition and value. Physically, the 1958 D-cent has a diameter of approximately 19 millimeters and weighs about 3.11 grams. The edge is plain, with no reading or lettering. These specifications were standard for Lincoln wheat cents and remain consistent throughout the series, contributing to the uniform feel and appearance of the coins across decades. In terms of production, the Denver Mint struck approximately 800 million 1958 D-cents, making it one of the highest mintage issues of the wheat cent series. This massive production ensured widespread circulation, and the coin quickly became a familiar part of everyday transactions. Because of this high mintage, the 1958 D-cent is generally considered common in circulated grades. Millions of Americans use these coins daily for small purchases, vending machines, newspapers, and public transportation. The striking quality of 1958 D-cents varies, as the Denver Mint was operating at high speed to meet demand. Some coins show sharp details with strong wheat lines and well-defined lettering, while others display weaker strikes, especially on Lincoln's hair above the ear and on the tips of the wheat stalks. Collectors often seek examples with balanced detail on both sides and minimal softness in key areas. Because the 1958 D-cent circulated heavily, most surviving examples show noticeable wear. In heavily worn coins, Lincoln's facial features appear smooth, and the wheat ears on the reverse lose much of their definition. In moderately circulated coins, some hair detail and wheat lines remain visible, though wear is evident. Uncirculated examples retain their original mint luster and sharp detail, making them more desirable and valuable. Color classification plays a major role in evaluating a 1958. D-cent fully red coins retain most of their original mint color and are the most valuable. Red-brown coins display a mix of red and brown toning and offer a balance between beauty and affordability. Brown coins, which have lost nearly all of their original red color, are the most common and are typically found in circulated condition. Natural, even toning is preferred over dark, uneven, or spotted surfaces. The 1958 D-cent is also known for one of the most famous error coins in U.S. numismatic history, the 1958 double-die obverse cent. Although this dramatic error is extremely rare and most examples were not struck at the Denver Mint, its existence has increased interest in all 1958 cents, including the 1958 D. This association has led many collectors to examine 1958 D-cents closely in search of varieties or unusual features. Minor errors in die varieties can be found on 1958 D cents, including die cracks, die chips, weak strikes, and minor re-punched mint marks. While these errors are generally not extremely valuable, they add interest for collectors who specialize in error coins and varieties. Coins with clear, unusual features often carry modest premiums over normal examples. The historical context of 1958 adds depth to the story of this coin. The United States was experiencing economic growth, technological advancement, and cultural change. The interstate highway system was expanding, television was becoming a dominant form of entertainment, and consumer confidence was high. At the same time, Cold War tensions influenced politics and public life. The 1958 D. Lincoln cent circulated quietly through this dynamic period, serving as a constant and reliable medium of exchange. From a collective perspective, the 1958 D1 cent is an essential coin for completing a Lincoln wheat cent collection. Its status as a final year issue makes it especially meaningful. Many collectors seek high-grade examples to represent the end of the wheat design, often choosing coins with strong command significantly higher prices, particularly in higher grades certified by professional grading services. Exceptional coins with strong eye appeal are the most desirable. Beyond its monetary value, the 1958 D1 cent holds strong sentimental and educational significance. For many collectors, wheat pennies were the first coins they ever saved or studied. The 1958 D cent often appears in inherited collections, coin jars, and childhood albums, making it a powerful link between generations. Its familiar design and copper tone evoke memories of a simpler era in American history. Finally, we come to the 1 cent 1958 D coin. The 1 cent 1956 D coin, widely known as the 1956 D Lincoln wheat cent, is a classic example of mid-20th century American coinage and reflect a period of stability, economic growth, and strong national identity in the United States. Struck at the Denver Mint, this coin forms part of the long-running Lincoln wheat cent series that began in 1909 and continued until 1958. By 1956, the Lincoln cent had already circulated for nearly half a century, becoming one of the most familiar and trusted pieces of money in everyday American life. The obverse of the 1956 D1 cent features the right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's image on this coin appears calm, dignified, and thoughtful, representing the values of unity, strength, and perseverance associated with his legacy. Over the decades, Brenner's original design had undergone subtle refinements, and by 1956 the portrait was well-balanced and clearly defined when struck from fresh dies. Above Lincoln's head appears the motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase that carried increasing significance during the Cold War era. To the left of the portrait is the word liberty, symbolizing one of the core principles of the United States. To the right is the date 1956, with a small D mint mark position below it, indicating that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The reverse of the 1956 D cent displays the iconic wheat ears design that had been used since the first Lincoln cents were issued in 1909. Two stylized wheat stalks curve inward from the left and right edges, framing the central inscriptions. Between the wheat ears appears the denomination 1 cent, with United States of America written beneath it. Along the top of the reverse is the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This design emphasized America's agricultural roots and unity, themes that resonated strongly in a nation focused on productivity, self-reliance, and shared values. The 1956 D1 cent was struck in a traditional bronze composition consisting of 95% copper and 5% zinc, with trace amounts of tin. This alloy had been restored after World War II following temporary wartime changes, giving the coin its familiar warm copper color. When freshly minted, the coin displayed a bright red surface with strong luster. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and handling caused most examples to tone into red-brown or brown shades. The natural aging of copper means that no two coins tone in exactly the same way, making surface color an important factor for collectors. Physically, the 1956 D cent measures approximately 19 millimeters in diameter and weighs about 3.11 grams. The edge is plain, without any reading or lettering. These specifications were standard for Lincoln wheat cents and made the coin easy to recognize and use in daily transactions. Millions of Americans handle these coins every day, often without considering their design or historical significance. In terms of production, the Denver Mint struck a very large number of 1956 D cents, contributing to the overall abundance of this date. Because of the high mintage, the 1956 D cent is considered a common issue in circulated condition. Most examples entered circulation immediately and were used extensively, resulting in widespread wear. As a result, many surviving coins show smoothing on Lincoln's cheek, jawline, and hair, as well as around the wheat ears and lettering on the reverse. The quality of strike on 1956 D cents can vary noticeably. Some coins were struck sharply, with strong detail visible in Lincoln's hair and well-defined wheat lines on the reverse. Others show weaker strikes due to worn dies or high-speed minting demands. Weakness is often seen on the hair above Lincoln's ear and on the tips of the wheat stalks. Collectors generally prefer coins with even, strong strikes and balanced detail on both sides. Because the coin circulated heavily, most 1956 D cents found today are in lower to mid-grade circulated condition. In heavily worn examples, Lincoln's facial features appear flat, and the wheat ears lose much of their definition. In moderately circulated coins, some detail remains, though is clearly visible. Uncirculated examples are more desirable, as they retain original mint luster and sharp detail. High-grade uncirculated coins, especially those with full red color, are significantly scarcer and more valuable than circulated pieces. Collectors classify the color of 1956 D cents into three main categories: red, red-brown, and brown. Fully red coins retain most of their original mint color and are the most sought after. Red-brown coins show a mixture of original red and brown toning and offer a balance between affordability and visual appeal. Brown coins, which have lost nearly all their original red color, are the most common and are typically found in circulated condition. Natural, even toning is preferred, while dark, blotchy, or artificially altered surfaces reduce desirability. Minor errors and varieties are known for the 1956 D cent. These include die cracks, die chips, weak strikes, and occasional repunched mint marks. Machine doubling can sometimes appear on letters or numbers, though this is not the same as true double die errors. While these minor varieties are generally not extremely valuable, they add interest for collectors who enjoy studying minting irregularities and production details. The historical context of 1956 adds further depth to the story of this coin. The United States was experiencing strong economic growth, expanding suburbs, and rising consumer confidence. The interstate highway system was underway. Television was becoming common in households, and American culture was rapidly evolving. At the same time, Cold War tensions influenced national policies and public attitudes. The 1956 D. Lincoln cent circulated quietly through this environment, serving as a small but constant part of everyday commerce. From a collecting standpoint, the 1956 D cent is an essential component of any Lincoln wheat cent collection. Although it is not rare, it represents the later years of the wheat design and the continuity of a coin type that Americans had used for generations. Collectors often seek higher-grade examples to upgrade their collections, especially coins with strong luster, clean surfaces, and attractive color. In today's market, the value of a 1956 D1 cent depends primarily on condition and color. Circulated brown examples are usually worth only a modest premium over face value, mainly due to collector interest and copper content. Uncirculated red-brown coins are more valuable, while fully red mint state examples can command significantly higher prices, especially in higher grades certified by professional grading services. Coins with exceptional eye appeal and minimal surface marks are the most desirable. Beyond its monetary worth, the 1956 D. Lincoln cent carries strong sentimental and educational value. Many collectors remember wheat pennies as the first coins they ever saved, often found in pocket change or inherited from relatives. The 1956 D cent frequently appears in old collections and coin jars, acting as a tangible connection between generations. If you enjoy learning about classic U.S. coins and their stories, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.